Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another Wargaming and Miniature video. In this video, we are going to be working on some tabletop scenics. It's from TT Combat. TT Combat Tabletop Scenics. It's their World War series. They've got quite a few series. They've got sci-fi, they've got fantasy, they've got punk, they've got Elizabethan. They've got a really good selection. This one is their 28mm scale church. This looks like a very European, well, it's World War, so it's a European church. This is like super thick MDF. Okay, I have a couple extras. You might be able to see them over there. This is the first time I'm putting a TT Combat model kit together, so it's going to be an experiment. Let me go ahead and cut this open, and we'll take a look at the actual MDF before we proceed. Alright, so now let's take a look at, now I see this is War 033, 6 of 7. And I guess this is 7 of 7. This is a cardstock. That's just cardboard. This is the actual MDF. Now, you might have seen me assemble a lot of Sarissa models on my channel. Sarissa models use an MDF that's about half the thickness of this. This is extremely thick. This is a very small piece. This is like a 5x8. And these are... Okay, that little piece fell off. That's fine. You would expect that. Windows and everything look really cool. And I don't know what all that is. We'll figure it out. But this MDF has kind of a... It's a different type of a texture. Okay, it smells all the same. But you can see where it's been burned, laser cut. But that's okay, because I'm going to be painting it on the inside anyway. Yeah, I don't know if that's not a pop-out window. That's just a cut to make it look like there's a frame. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that piece looks pretty nice. I'm going to assume this is probably the base. We haven't got to any instructions yet. Oh, P.S. There are no instructions. Unless it's inside here somewhere. Whoa. Okay, there's a lot of little tabs and stuff falling off of this thing. Yes, P.S. There are no instructions. 0. TT Combat. Okay. Instructions available at ttcombat.com. Give me a second. I'm going to go find that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I was able to find the instructions. It's a 25-page PDF. And on their website, it's actually mislabeled. On the website, it's called Chapel. The church is a totally different set of instructions. So that's something to be curious about. But it seemed like it was pretty straightforward. So... But from what I saw, the base has this piece as part of the base. Let's go ahead and see how easy this pops out. Looks like there might be just a little bit of cutting that I'm going to need to be doing. Not too much, but just a little bit. Yeah, so I don't know. Alright, while I'm continuing to bust these out of their sprues, I want you to see how fragile the sprue is the sprues break, which is actually a good thing. I realized early on when I'm trying to separate these pieces from the sprue that it is actually best not to try to bust these pieces out of the sprue, but to just break the sprue around this, and it comes out a lot easier. Just break the sprue, just destroy it, because you're just going to be throwing it away anyway. So like as an example, if I was trying to get this floor out, I would just take the sprue and break it off of, and it comes out a lot easier that way. Now, you've got a little piece there you got to clean off, you got to take off. But now, looking at all these pieces, you best have a sharp X-Acto knife or some other way to get rid of these little burrs. Every side will have one, and you will have to go through and clean that off. This model is lousy with them. Okay, so let's kind of just put all this stuff over here, and then as I clean the burrs off, I'll stack them up over here. Seems like the burrs come off pretty easy as long as you got a sharp knife. All right, good deal. All right, so let me get some of these burrs cut off, and then I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm cutting these burrs off. I'm noticing something. I think this is a lower quality MDF. It's a lot softer, and it's more like an MDF ply, because when I go, like you can see right here, how it's kind of separating, like a top layer is coming off. When I went to cut that burr, part of this layer of MDF started to come apart. It's a lot softer and easier to cut and I'm comparing this to Sarissa, but it is double the thickness, and I think after you start gluing everything together, it should be just fine. And once you apply a coat of paint, it's going to hold everything together. But I just feel like in certain areas it's lacking. All right, let me go ahead and continue to get these burrs off. Yeah, this burr's already separating right there. Okay, let me go ahead and get these burrs, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, step one is to put the tall piece and the, I guess, windowed piece okay, fits on, it's going to fit on just like that. And then there's these two side pieces that are going to fit on, and these should slot in just like that. Should slide in just like that. Okay. It says do the sides first, but I don't think... Okay, maybe so. I'm going to go ahead and apply some glue along. And I'm using Aleene's tacky glue. So that's because it has a really good grip, and it's very tacky, which means it's sticky. So when you put your, when you start putting your model together, it should stick. Okay. Now this, of course, is not going to stay upright. Now you gotta, the windows are visible from the outside. On the inside is just smooth. So be sure to put your glue on the inside. And you might have noticed it didn't go all the way to the end because that actually overhangs the sides. And I don't want. Okay. I have a piece of wax paper here specifically so that when I'm putting my model together, if there's any glue that squirts out any portion of the model, it won't stick on the table. Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. A little glue on the inside. And how do you know it's the inside? Again, the way it's cut. Alright, so let's slide this down. There we go. So it's flush with the base. The walls are flush with the sides. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, I also want to make a point about assembling. Oh, I didn't trim this. The instructions don't have any text. It's all pictorial, 100%. There's not one word. So you have to pretty much just guess. They don't even have like numbered parts. I mean, it's not like rocket science, but it is good to know what parts are what. All right, so the next thing is the tower. And all three of these tower pieces look exactly the same, except for the one with the doorway. It looks like we're going to be putting a trap door piece on here like that. I now realize what I did wrong. Okay, so we're going to pop that piece off. Luckily, the glue hasn't dried yet. The reason why I put it on backwards, because I was trying to get that facing forward, right? But that's where the tower is. That would cover that. If it's backwards, that looks out over the top of the church. So that's actually supposed to be facing to the rear. Okay. Okay, on the instructions, it actually shows the door with it kind of cracked open. So what I did was I just popped it open just a little bit and did not break it off of the sprue. I'm going to trim this burr here and here just to make the door look a little better. All right. And then it looks like that's going to glue to the inside here to kind of make it look like the door is opening. That's kind of interesting. And this trap door I'm going to glue up so that it looks like yeah, and that's going to kind of hold everything in place. Let me go ahead and glue this together. A little bit of glue. There we go. I'm going to use that as a table. And now let's put some glue. Let's see if we can do it here. There we go. Got the little start of the tower with the corner with the little trap door right there. Windows facing outwards. Okay. And then it recommends putting the door, it shows the door like right here in the middle of the floor, but I don't know if that's correct or not. No, on further videos or further pictures, I'm sorry, it shows it all the way up into the door like that. All right, so let's go ahead and glue. Okay, thought that was tipping over. Glue this into place. And I did put a little glue on the door itself to kind of hold it in place so it doesn't bust off. I think I'm going to put a little bit on the inside too, just to keep the doors from falling off. And then drop it down into the slot. When you line it up on the outside, it's easier to do that. Yep, that looks good right there. Let's just apply a little pressure. Okay, and then it shows the next wall, guard tower. Now I would suspect this goes under here. Another point I wanted to make is when you are putting this church down on the base, one side of the base has a single notch and the other side of the base has this double wedge notch. You got to make sure that double wedge notch is on the side with the tower, because the base of this tower has this double wedge that will slide up into there like that, and then the rest of this will hook on. Alright, so let's go ahead and put the tower on the front. Yep, so I'm going to put a little glue inside each of these notches. Okay. Yep, that looks good. Line up the holes. There it goes. Just be careful not to break anything. Just squeeze it into place. Get the glue. There we go. Pressing from the inside and the out. Okay. And then remember, you've got this bottom piece that needs to slide down into there. So I'm just going to apply a little glue inside each of these notches. And then I'm going to lay this piece down inside. There we go, and that makes your tower square, and the piece right here also assists in making it square. Okay. All right, so that's pretty good so far. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Okay, the next step, I do believe, I'm not sure, but I do believe it's these two little T pieces. Again, remember the parts are not numbered, and there's no text. It shows this being like placed in here and in the window here, like that and like that. I don't know if that's going to help hold up the roof or what the reasoning is behind that, but that's what the instructions say. Now, from what I can tell, we're going to be putting the roof together next. So let's go ahead and get all the roof pieces ready, and then I'll be right back. All right, now after doing a little bit of research, I see that this is going to be the A-frame for the roof, and it does look like it's going to rest right on top of those little pieces that we just glued in. But let's go ahead, and another point I wanted to make. This is a good review piece. These cuts are not just straight bricks. They look like shingled, like tiles, and it looks really good. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure it's the same both ways. Okay. It's in. It's in. So far, so good. There, and then it gets flush along there, and it's in there. Make sure everything's got some pressure applied to it. Okay, and we're going to let that dry just for a few moments. Next up. Okay, it looks like this piece is going to be the one that sits on top of the roof up here. Doesn't mean I have to glue it. Oh. There we go. It's going to sit on top of there, and I guess I can pull it off if I want to put figures in the bell tower. Okay. Look, okay, here they are. Okay, so these two triangles are going to go in together like so, and then they're going to go on there. So let's just go ahead and apply some glue here and there. There we go. There. So far so good. All right. And you know the roof would sit on I wanted that to go on the inside of this wall, and the inside of this wall, I think they say put it down in there like that to allow the wood here to shape and form to the proper whatchamadoolies. But again, this does come off. It's not glued down. Right? Okay, I don't want it to rub on any glue up here by accident and then be permanent fixture. Okay, so the next piece is going to be a little bit more tricky. It's this bottom piece here. I'm not sure about that piece. Okay. All right, so now this back little area is a little tricky. You've got these shutter looking pieces that are going to go on here, and then you have the windows that are going to go on the outside of them like that. So it's kind of like a double layer like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these shutters on the inside. And the reason why I'm putting it in the corner is because it'll glue the outer window and the shutter against each other. So like once I put this in here, right, I can press the shutter against it, and the glue at the bottom should hold it in place. And this is going to go on top of this. What I think I want to do is glue this in place and then lift this up into that. Okay, that's in. Now let's put a little bit of glue on each of these. And along the bottom here. You know what? I'm going to put a little glue along the side wall here just to secure it. Okay. I have to line the bottom walls with the top piece. They all have to line up or it won't snap into place. There we go. Okay. Everything's lined up. Okay. Smooth with the bottom. Snapped in on the top. excess. Alright, now we've got this frame sitting on the top. Okay, I was skeptical, but I kind of like hand put it together, and it's actually pretty cool. I'm going to apply some glue. This is the main piece, and I'm going to apply some glue along the bottom here. And we're just going to go ahead and attach it right there. Fits in no problem. This is the largest of the 3 pieces. I'm going to put a little glue along the bottom of it. And that's all we need. It's got a peg and it's got a slot to go in that first piece. There we go. All right. Now when you look at these 2 pieces, they look almost identical, but one's got a slot on the top and this one has a slot on the bottom. These 2 are going to rest on top of each other like that. So you got to make sure you put this one in first. Glue here, maybe a little dot right there. And then just to make it easy, I'm going to put a little glue right inside there. Now when you put this on, there's like a big opening right there that this will cross through. So let's go ahead and put a little glue on the inside of that. Snaps right into place. This does the exact same thing. Let's put a little bit on the back, put a little on the cross. And look at that. I didn't think that was going to happen like that, but they know what they're doing. Okay, it doesn't show this, but I'm going to assume that it's, I know it's bad when you assume, right? But I assume it's these plates that go right around in there. Not completely cut it out, but we're going to help cut it out. Alright, it looks like these have little tabs that I would be placing these in. And then folding them down and gluing them to the wood here. That's kind of what I'm anticipating. Let's go ahead and do that. We should do it. I don't think I need to put any glue in the notch or anything. So I'm gonna slide it in, and then I'm just gonna bend it. And it looks like it's gonna have to be held down for that glue to grip it. Okay. Do the same on the other side. This doesn't seem big enough. Yeah, but it's there. Alright, so that's what the back of it's going to look like. Now we're going to spray paint that, all that good stuff. But now we're going to go back to the tower and we're going to work on the inside here. Remember those shutters that were back there? Well, they're also going to be on the inside here. You need the tall shutters for the tower. Alright, so now we've got to go ahead and what I'm going to do on these shutters is I'm going to put a little glue along the sides like that. So when they go in, I'll just push them up against the side of the wall. Okay, it's in. Alright, so now what we're doing is we're putting on the roof piece, and there are some folds that need to be made along these lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ridge of the church as a ruler to help me fold these along that line. Once it gets started, it shouldn't be a problem to continue the folding. It's just that initial get started on a straight line. Okay, now that you've got it on a straight line, you should be able to continue to fold. Be careful at the top. It looks like it wants to separate all the pieces that were, all the tiles that were cut via the laser. The laser want to separate. Okay. See how that tile wants to come off? Okay. It might be something you go back later and fix. Okay. This tip right here doesn't want to fold properly. Okay, there we go. Alright, now you can see there's little slots where they will go in, and then they'll also glue against this wood, and then they'll have to glue against each other when it comes around here. Or you can always put a bead of glue on there to disguise the gap, especially when you go back to painting it. Okay, so I'm going to fold this just a little bit excessive. There we go. Basically a little bit more than 90 degrees. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's apply some glue here. Okay, maybe just a hair around the corners here. Now where do I want that gap? I don't want it in the front. That's just me. Doesn't matter, it's even all the way around, so you can put it wherever you want. Okay, I thought this would go on like super easy, but no, it wants to be a pain in the butt. Okay, that's in. Gotta kind of try to keep it in. I don't get why this side doesn't want to go in. Okay, there, went in. Okay, and then you see the gap right there, right? Like I was mentioning. So I'm pushing, remember there's like a wood frame on the inside. So press your cardstock against that wood frame on all four sides, like equally. And you're going to have to let that dry a little bit. So you're going to have to hold it for 5-10 minutes. If you use super glue, you might be able to get away with doing it a lot faster. Okay, that's actually doing pretty good. So now as that's thinking about drawing, I'm going to put a bead . There you go. Actually, I think it's starting to grip pretty good. Now let's see if I can't put like a little glue under each of these loose tiles and then put them back into position. Okay, now that that's together, there are some wood bars that are going to go on the top here. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue between these holes. And there's a short end and a long end. Continue on around like short end against the long end. Just got to look to find where the short end is. Yeah. And there you go. You got like that little extra ridge. Oh, I got that little extra ridge around there. Okay. Back side of this, you have a couple of pieces like this, and I think this is mainly just to disguise those wood bumps right there. So what we'll do is we'll put a little glue. Just like that. Gives a little extra 3 dimensions right there. Alright, now we're going to start working a little bit on decorative trim. There was a step that I completely missed that it wasn't even shown. They have these plates here that you glue into the sides there. So let's go ahead and get all those on there. I guess they're wall supports. Okay, it looks like they give you a couple extras just in case you need them. Now, on this, we've got these bars here. So, okay. And I got a little notch there because I guess this is gonna fit right there. 2 of them have notches on both sides and the rest have notches on one side because the flat part would go up against the building. Like that. And then if you got 2 notches, we'd go in the middle. Because then the notches would fit together or flat, flush. That kind of shows you how where the floors are, even though you can't pull it off or anything. All right. Now on these supports, there's supposed to be little clips that go over each of these that hold it in place. Give it a little bit more style. I think it's these guys. And then he would go over and through. I'm just going to put a little glue right there. Whoa, that's quite a bit actually. now in the back of the church, these two windows there, they have shutters as well. So let's go ahead and put those shutters in. Okay, so those shutters are in there. Okay, so the next thing now we're going to do is put in some of these fake columns. They go along the tower right here. So let's go ahead and squeeze it right on in there. And you want to put it fairly close to the center. Okay, that's snapped in. It's not coming out anytime soon. Now the one on the top and the bottom, you don't have any of that to worry about because it doesn't fit in between two pieces. You just got to press it down against the floor here. And the one underneath, you just have to press up against the little floor. You want to kind of get these all online with each other. So it look like that. Do that on both sides. Now there's also going to be one or two right there. So, all right. Now one of the next steps is just the smooth pieces. But we're going to go ahead and put the frame of the door in, and that's going to go, remember, flush against the bottom, but also I got to press it up against the top. Let's go ahead and glue. Center it on the door. Apply a little upward pressure so that it's flush against these floors, and then inward pressure without causing it to buckle, of course. There you go, and you got like a really three-dimensional door looking right there. Okay, and then you've got these additional bars that are just going to go straight up like you normally would. Alright, so we got all the bars, front, sides. Okay, that is complete. Now the last step, you see that it has these little these are pews. These are park benches or pews. These are the seats and the backs of the 8 pews that you can do. I'm not going to do those. I'm going to save these for later. I'm not going to use them in my wargaming, but if I was to maybe role play or something, I was going to use this church, I might build these pews. But for now, I'm not building them. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this thing nice. That just pops right on there. it is directional, so it doesn't go on this way. It seems like it's not a perfect square, but it does go on this way. Perfect. Okay. And then the roof, I'm going to tuck it in here first, then bring it down. All right, it's in. And that is the TT Combat Church. Now, that went together pretty good, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. It took a long time to put it together. There's a lot of parts. It took me almost let me rephrase that. It took me 3 hours to put this thing together. It's not completely dry yet. You can put troops in there. You can put troops in there. You can even put troops down inside there if you wanted. And you could put troops in there if you wanted. But most likely you'll just put troops in there. Okay. Okay, the roof's on. Okay. What do you guys think? It's not dry yet, but I like the windows. I do like the windows. I like the whole concept behind the shutters. Thought that was a pretty interesting idea. And then the door being cracked open, pretty cool. Okay. Thanks for coming out and watching this TT Combat Church / Chapel. I've got a couple more I'm going to do. We'll go ahead and do those. Come back and check those out. Catch you next time.